Good noon, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's great to be here with you. So today we're cooking a very special meal. It's a meal definitely that you can serve to company. When you see at the end, it's a beautiful presentation. So we're gonna start, the dessert we'll do at the end, but we're gonna be working on the soup and the purees all sort of simultaneously. So in the hope that when the workshop is over, everything will actually be done. So the first things we want to do
Bracha, I just want to tell you that I saw the menu and I don't understand what different puree so weird with the pea and with, come on. I know that puree is with potato.
You have to see. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to start with the pea puree. Okay, we soaked our split peas, right? We soaked them overnight. The split peas, we put them up in the Salad Master pot, and we're going to cover it with water and put it up to boil. The split peas. Okay, that was the peas up to boil. We're going to take our Salad Master pan. It has in it, I prepared this in advance, so I would be able to show you what to do with them. But as you see in the recipe of the soup, we're doing a baked squash soup. So the squash, we're actually baking first. So I took a butternut squash and an acorn squash. Actually, I took 3 acorn squashes and a butternut squash. You can do it in any way you want. You could do just one, just the other, however it works out. Cut them in half. Take out the seeds. You'll have like this. And put it face down in the pan and bake it until it's soft, until you can stick a knife through it. So that I did already, but if you're cooking at home, quickly put your squash in the oven. Then the other thing we're going to do also in our Salad Master pan is the sweet potatoes, right? We're going to do a sweet potato puree. So just take the sweet potatoes whole. Don't have to do anything to them except wash them. Put them in the pan and bake them, and again, until a knife goes through easily. Okay, if you haven't done that yet, then now's the time. Okay, like I said, those 2 things I did in advance, so I would be able to show you the whole process. Next, we're going to steam the beets for the beet puree. So we're going to take our wonderful Salad Master steamer. Right here, it has the steamer part in it. And we're going to take the beets. Don't have to do anything, just wash them, stick them in the pot, and I'm going to put it on the fire. Dan, maybe you want to fill in while I'm putting this on the fire.
I just want to say that you are very creative because all the time you're making a simultaneous, also cooking with the Salad Master cookware, and do also use a lot the stove with the pan. And it's something that we are not used to use it so much. So it's great.
Okay, so right now we have sweet potatoes in the oven, squash in the oven, boiling the split peas, right, which we soaked overnight, very important, right? Our split peas we soaked, the quinoa we soaked, and the lentils, okay? So the peas are on the fire and the beets are also on the fire being steamed, okay? So there's water in the pan underneath and the beets on the top. Okay, now we're gonna start putting our soup together. Okay. We're gonna take, first gonna take the squash, right, that we baked earlier. And now, since we baked it earlier, it's very easy for it to come out. Just spoon it out and put it, I'm gonna use tonight the food processor. You could also use a blender, whatever is handy for you. So I'm going to take all the squash, scoop it out, and put it in the blender. No, in the food processor. Dan, do you maybe want to talk about, and I'm going to use, before that, I'm going to be making the soup in my really large Salad Master wonderful soup pot.
This is the 10 quart.
Yes.
9.5 ליטר.
Okay. And very quickly, throw in all the inside of the squash. And basically what this does is adds a lot of flavor and some texture and thickness to the soup. So instead of pureeing afterwards and having a pureed soup, we'll have a soup with pieces of vegetables in it, but it'll have a little thicker broth because all this will be pureed. So we just have 2 more acorn squashes here. This is a great winter soup, at least in our neck of the woods. Squashes are a thing that are in season right now. And I'm going to add a little water to the puree, so it'll get nice and soft. Okay, I'm going to make a little noise here, Dan, so you might want to turn me off and talk about our pots.
It will be automatically, don't worry. Yes, without electricity, it's not going to work.
I know, it's a very big problem. So always plug your appliances in, they work much better that way. Okay, you can hear me again?
Yes, Baha.
Okay.
There are some questions from the audience, the Israeli audience.
Yes.
One question is, why to bake and not to cook on the stove?
Because the baking basically takes all the water out of the squash. As you probably know, squashes have a lot of water in them. And the baking basically concentrates the flavor of the squash. So you get much more flavor from the squash by first baking it. Obviously, you could just throw the squash in the soup, but then it would be a different recipe. So, okay, so we threw the squash puree into the pot. And now we're going to use our Salad Master grater slicer, what is this thing called? Which is a wonderful thing. And we're going to slice up, I'm using the slicer, right? We have the different conoses of the Salad Master slicer, and I'm using now the slicing one, and I'm slicing the zucchini.
Can you show to the camera the slices more, you know, on your hand?
Here we go. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so you see what the slices look like?
Thank you.
Really nice thin slices, which is great for us this evening because it means our soup will cook really fast. So how many, whoops. So we talked at about 3 to 4. It depends how big they are, how much soup you want to make. Obviously, soup, you can always make more, you can make less, however much, depending on how many people you need to feed at any given moment. Okay. So as we say, chick-chock, we have now the zucchini. Throw it in the pot. We're now going to do carrots straight from my organic farmer and slice these. So,
Racha, can I suggest you to use the carrot from the thick to the thin? It's going to be easier
to the thin. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. They're just very small carrots because it's so the thick and the thin are so different.
From the thin, no, from the thick to the thin.
Yeah, from the thick to the thick, yes. Okay.
The thing is that you have a base better to hold on.
Hold on. So we have here the sliced carrots. We're going to throw those in the pot. And we have here a few tomatoes, which we're just going to slice into bigger chunks. And throw in the pot. And the secret, actually, to tell you the truth about this soup, is that if you have other vegetables rotting in your refrigerator, that's also fine. It'll work whatever vegetables you have to put in it. So we're throwing in 2 onions. And we had here somewhere a little nice piece of ginger. Fresh ginger in soup is always a great addition. So we're going to cut a piece of ginger to throw in. And a great addition to any soup is 1 beet. Not that you should necessarily eat it, but there's nothing like the color that it's going to give your soup. So I always recommend throwing a beet in any vegetable soup you make. And and we said maybe some peppers also. We have here peppers. Also, these we'll do in just large chunks. Here we go. Okay. And salt. You can start with 2 teaspoons, and obviously salt, we always have to taste at the end and see how much more it might need. Okay, Dan, I'm going to fill this up and you can tell us about the pots.
I just want to show again the recipes. They ask in Hebrew.
Wait. First, I'll show you what all the cut vegetables in the pot. Okay, and I'm going to fill it up. It's got moved a little bit. It's got moved. I don't know.
In a moment, I will show you also in English. And the recipes were sent in this morning, also tomorrow. In meantime, another people get to our workshop, and I just want to know if somebody is cooking simultaneous with us. So please write me on the chat. You can write on the chat, and then we will go to Nigeria, maybe to London, maybe to Brooklyn, in the morning, afternoon, the evening.
Okay.
International.
International. Okay, so our sweet potatoes are in the oven. Our peas are boiling, and our beets are steaming. Okay, so everything's, and very important, cooking split peas, like cooking chickpeas, anything that you want to get really soft, a little bit of baking soda. That's the secret to making them soft. So after the peas come to a boil, I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda.
There is a question from the audience, is how much water did you add?
I basically would have been happier having a larger pot, but I ran out of pots. So I would say I added at least 2 or 3 cups of water, or 3 or 4 cups of water. And we'll have to continue adding water because it's cooking, and I'm cooking it. Usually I would cook it on a much lower heat, but I'm cooking it on a higher heat in the hope that everything will be finished when we get there. Okay, so I put in a little baking soda. It fizzes up and hopefully makes the peas nice and creamy soft as they cook. Okay, now we're going to start making the topping for the lentil, the lentil topping. Okay, the concept of this dish that we're making today, which is called lentil topped vegetable purees, is that there are 3 color purees on the bottom. Tonight it'll be sweet potato, pea, and beets. But you can think about being creative and doing vegetable purees with other things as well. What are they called? Anyway, but tonight it'll be 3 colors: green, red, and orange. And on top of that, we're going to be making a lentil topping. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to start with.
So we are with the topping, yes? The topping?
Yes, now we're with the topping. Going to chop up our onion. Yeah, more. It's actually a topping as opposed to a sauce. It's sort of solid as opposed to saucy is the concept. So we have our onion. And now, because we're using the Salad Master pots, we're going to saute the onions, the tomatoes, and the peppers. But because we have the Salad Master pots, we don't need to use any oil. We'll put in a little bit of water and saute the vegetables without oil.
Before you have the cookwares of Salad Master, you used a lot of oil to do the structure?
I wouldn't use a lot, but yes, I definitely would have used a little oil to make sure it didn't stick on the pan. So, okay, tonight we're gonna chop this up fairly small, again, because we need it to get done fairly quickly. So Dan, you'll fill in for a moment because I need to switch
I just
pots.
want to say that when we don't use oil, hot oil, you can go.
Okay, go ahead.
You asked me to fill and you stay.
Okay, fill in.
Okay, so I'm saying that using the oil, cooking, stirring with high temperatures, it will make all the area very acid, and the acid for our body is not so good. We prefer to keep the vegetables on the alkaline side. An area without acid is an area that it's, let's say, desert for germs and virus. And for the vitamins and the minerals, it's a 5-star hotel and not upside down. I just want to congratulate our host, our attendees from all over the world. The first time that you're here, and you are welcome every Sunday. We are getting again. Not all the time it's on English. Normally it's going to be in Hebrew. But
okay.
we can arrange it.
Okay, I'm back. All right, so we're going to use our big soup pot again, our Salad Master pot. It uses a little bit smaller pot, but it's busy being the steamer pot. And I'm going to put all the vegetables, being the tomatoes, onions, peppers, and tomatoes, onions, and peppers. Here I wrote, if you would like to add a hot pepper, up to you, for those of you who like a little bit of more spice or a little bit more heat, actually. So actually tonight we are going to add a hot pepper to this. First I'm cutting all the peppers. Okay. So all the peppers go in the pot. We'll show you now what we have in the pot. Whoops. Right, we have, can you see? We have the peppers, onions, and tomatoes. I think I didn't cut enough tomatoes because I lost track a little bit. So I'm going to add another tomato or two into our topping for the lentils. By the way, the lentils are also going to get steamed in the same steamer that right now I'm steaming the beets. Beets take a little bit longer. Lentils will be very, very quick. And I think, as I look at the recipe, that I forgot to say in the recipe that the lentils should get steamed on their own before being added to the vegetables. But the fact of the matter is, maybe we'll just add them without steaming them first. We'll see if we have time. Here we go. The vegetables are going on the stove. We're going to add a small amount of water, just as though we were sauteing, and about a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to saute the vegetables in the water on the stove. Okay. Okay. So now, what do we have, right? We have you can maybe look, if you just put squash in the oven when we started this, it might be close to finished. And the sweet potatoes. Since our sweet potatoes are ready already, we're gonna put them and now make the puree of the sweet potatoes. You might notice that I'm taking the same food processor that had the squash in it. The little squash add to the sweet potatoes is just fine. And the less times we have to wash it, the better. Okay, here we have the sweet potatoes. Actually, what's nice about a baked sweet potatoes, it peels quite nicely and quickly, and I shouldn't have cut it in half first, would have made it easier. And I'm gonna put all the sweet potatoes in the food processor to puree them. If for some reason you don't have a food processor or something to blend them up in, don't worry, as we say. You can also just take a potato masher and mash them up. It'll be a little bit different consistency, but it'll work just fine. So that's another option that you have. So we're peeling the sweet potatoes. Again, the idea of baking the sweet potatoes keeps more of the flavor in the potato, but we could also do this by cooking the potatoes. It would also work. Cooking or steaming. I just ran out of pots to do all that with. So however is easiest for you, that's always how you should do things. And if you remember, another option of these peels that I'm creating, right? I don't know if you remember anybody who was in my last workshop, and we took these peels that had a little bit of potato left on them, mixed them with just a little bit of coconut oil and salt, put them back in the oven, and they made great chips. So don't waste your potato peels. You can make them taste great. So I highly recommend that when we empty this pan, and after the workshop's over, I will bake the peels and make some very healthy, tasty chips. Also, they're great to put in the soup. So that's always another alternative. Anytime you have, particularly when you're peeling vegetables to make soup, and often you're peeling potatoes or sweet potatoes, just don't throw away the peels, make good use of them. And here you see I have a pile, and very quickly I will finish with this and later put them back in the oven to create the chips. Any questions? Dan, are there any questions? Did I lose him? Dan?
Just a moment, you catch me.
Okay.
Other coops.
Okay.
Just a moment.
All right, I'm gonna turn on my food processor and add a little bit of salt and make our sweet potato puree.
Okay, if there is some question, you can write it on the chat. And if somebody is cooking with us, please write us, and we will jump with the camera into the pot. Not inside because it's going to be hot, but near.
Okay. We
Rafa,
have
there
our.
is a question from the audience.
Yes.
How long you put it in the store in the oven?
In the oven
to make
for
it,
the chips?
Yes.
For the chips, yes. The question was about making the chips?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, probably 15, 20 minutes. I just put them in now, so I'll be able to tell you when they come out. Here we have the puree. You want to show the puree from the food processor? Here we go. Right, it's really nice and smooth. And I just added salt. You want to taste it and make sure that it's got the right amount of salt in it. Which I'll actually do right now. Good. Okay, and now I'm gonna put it already on a plate so that I'll be able to show to you how we can present this dish. Okay, so you'll need a big platter of some kind. And we have here the sweet potato puree. Okay. Okay, the next time I am going to have to wash it because orange and red won't be so great. Okay. We're going to just check what's on the stove, right? We have beets steaming, peas cooking, the lentil topping, and the soup. So I'll be back in a minute after I check what's on the stove. Okay, I guess sometimes, you know, you make a mistake in cooking and in recipes and it turns out to be the exact right thing. First of all, I forgot my hot pepper, so I'm going to add the hot pepper. I'm using these small red hot peppers, but whatever hot pepper you like, you can certainly add. Okay, I'm adding these into our lentil mixture. And the lentils, right, that I soaked last night, and I rinsed them off this morning. Very important. I used green lentils, as you can see. And I actually thought to steam them first, but the steamer is still busy. So I think I'm just going to throw in the lentils with the vegetables, right? With the tomatoes, peppers, and onions that we were sauteing. Just going to throw them in with that and put the lid on the pot. Okay, there's a little bit of I put a little bit of water in so it would saute a little bit. And now I just added the lentils and I'm going to add a little bit more salt. Okay, so 1 second. There's a problem when you're cooking during the lockdown. I don't have any assistants. So I have to wash my own dishes. Anyway, so now, right, we have all the things on the stove. Our beets are not quite soft yet. So we're going to proceed and make the quick date nut balls, which the idea was, okay, 1 second. We'll clean off the counter here. All right, we have our Salad Master slicer out already. So we don't have to get something else dirty. It's here already. We're just going to, we were using before the slicer, right? You can see the slicer,
yes,
which is
4.
Number 4, thank you. I never can remember the numbers. And now we're going to use number 1. Thank you. Number 1, which is like the small grater, but it's going to work. Is the shredder, but it's going to work great for our date nut balls. Okay, so here's just an easy thing, right? You have to whip up a dessert. Somebody walked in, you'll whip up a dessert real quick. Doesn't even need to be baked, and everything can be done in the Salad Master because you were anyway slicing and grating. Okay, so we have the walnuts and dates. Okay, so we're just gonna put them in here. The dates. Here we go. And throw in the walnuts. This is a very inexact science. It doesn't really matter if they get smaller pieces, bigger pieces, everything goes, it all works. In fact, we're going to do the dates, put the dates through again because they'll work better with the walnuts. Okay, we have, you can see the bowl. Here's what our ground up walnuts and dates. I'm gonna clean out the grater. Make sure we got it all. Okay, and as I said, this works great because we're dealing with ingredients that don't need to be cooked, that are all yummy in themselves. So we don't really care if the piece of date is a little bigger, the piece of the walnut is a little smaller. However it works out, makes a great ball. So we're going to add to this. We're going to take our recipe for the date nut balls. And going to add to this our, as I said, it can either be, here we go, sorry. cacao powder or no, oh wait, or
Bracha, can you show it to the camera?
Yes, just 1 second.
The package.
Sorry. Okay, so I am using actually raw. These are both actually, didn't notice that these are both raw cacao, cocoa powder. In other words, made from raw cocoa beans. Cocoa beans in themselves are very healthy. It's just that usually when we eat them as chocolate, we've added a lot of sugar and often fat to them. So if we just take the raw cocoa beans, sorry, I don't know if I'm speaking English or Hebrew. Here are the whole cocoa beans, so you can see what they look like. I'm in my hand, so you can see them. These, by the way, are edible just like this. For anyone who, I think they're delicious, but you have to get used to the fact they're not sweet. They have the taste of chocolate without being sweet. Anyway, obviously it'll work fine if you use also processed cocoa powder. And you can use, if you want to, this, I'm sorry, I don't have the package, but this is carob powder. So you can use one or the other or a combination. So tonight, just to make life interesting, we'll just use a combination. We'll use some carob and some cacao for our balls. Okay, we'll add that in. We'll add in vanilla. Now, noticing I ordered very little vanilla bottles of vanilla extract. Also, obviously you can use vanilla powder, whatever you have. Vanilla, salt. Salt is very important. Salt helps bring out the sweetness of what we're making. So we're going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put in a little bit of coconut oil. Here's our coconut oil. Dan, if you want to show. Anyway, in a minute, we'll see the coconut oil. Here's the coconut oil that we're using, but any kind of virgin coconut oil is good. We want a not processed oil. Okay, that's important. And we're going to put in a little bit of maple syrup for the sweetness and for the flavor. And this, we're going to stir up. And to tell you the truth, the best way to do this is probably with your hands. So I'll get there in a second. I'll use my spoon for a minute to break up the coconut oil. Coconut oil, by the way, is something that is liquid or solid depending on the outside temperature. So in the summer, it's easy. It's very liquid, but in our winter temperatures, it turns solid. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. But basically, in a few simple kneads, the dough comes together, and that's really all it takes. I'm gonna make sure that there's no big clumps of oil. Pretty easy to see. Okay, and here we have the dough of our date nut balls. And in just a second, we'll make them into balls, but first I have to check everything that's on the stove. So Dan, take it away.
I just want to explain, in every country, there are the regulation, how you can get to the special food processor of Salad Master. But I'm sure that if you didn't know about it, you like it now. what I'm suggesting is to get to the closest dealership of Salad Master and ask them what are the regulations. Here in Israel, we are selling it, or you can receive it by recommendation and by give us some sales. And sales.
Okay. Our beets, at least some of them are done, are soft. Ah, forgot to check on the chips. For those of you who want to know how long they take.
If you can,
they're not done yet.
The beet. If you can show us later the beets, how it seems to.
Okay.
After the steaming, right?
Yes. So, okay. We got our food processor clean. We're going to move this out of the way. Okay, can we see the pot on the stove? No, I don't think so. Okay, remember this was in our steaming pot. And there's still one beet left in there, but here are our beets steamed. As I said, I stuck a knife in and it went in easily. So I'm just gonna run them under cool water so that I can touch them and proceed. Usually you can just leave them to cool for a few minutes on their own, but we're gonna sort of speed up the process. Okay, we'll let that sit for one more minute. And in the meantime, I'll show you how we'll take a plate and make a few of our quick date nut balls. So it's always nice to roll them in something. You can just roll them like this, but obviously it looks even nicer if you take coconut or cocoa powder, whatever might suit your fancy. So here we're going to do it tonight in coconut. And I'm just going to roll a few balls so that we'll be able to virtually taste them at the end of our workshop. I wish you were all here because we're going to have a great meal here when this is all done. Okay, just a few so you can see how it works. We roll them around in the coconut. And we have our lovely, can we see this way, that way? Have our lovely, whoops, date nut balls for dessert. So it's always good to start with dessert first. You're allowed to go ahead and try one. You know, don't wait. Just because we haven't eaten the food yet, what does it matter?
Can you throw in one near Afula and I will get?
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. And now we're going to proceed. We're going to go back to our beets, get all confused. Okay, so it's easy to peel beets after they've been steamed. Again, usually I let them steam just a titch more, but we want to show you how this all turns out. So we're just going to speed this process along a little bit and put our beets in the food processor. And just to tell you, as I check the lentils on the stove, so I guess I didn't make a mistake in the recipe. That's the best way to do it. Just saute your vegetables, and after they're a little bit sauteed, and there's a little bit water, liquid in the bottom from all the vegetables, throw in your lentils, and they cook quickly, just like that. So in another few minutes they will be done. But in the meantime, we will, oh, it's hot. In the meantime, we'll make our pureed beets. Another great winter vegetable. Okay, we'll just put them all in the food processor. Okay, I'm making noise, so you can talk.
I just want to say that in the month of February and getting to end of February and the beginning of March, we're going to launch something very, very special. And I want you to prepare for that because the company is all the time developing more and more tools and cookwares. And what's going to get in the several 2 months, it's going to be Stanish. Something that your Joe going to, in Hebrew say, that the Joe get down to the floor, okay? נופלת הלסת, so, so it's going to be surprising. And I think also, Bacha, you're going to like it very much.
Yeah. So when are we gonna know?
But I tell you, for that we will need. I tell you, we need to set another date for February. We set it already.
No, we'll have to do March. I think.
Exactly. Everything is full house. Okay, so it's going to be in March, but I suggest to you, it's going to be better for you beginning of March, not in the end of March.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay, and I realized that one thing I forgot to add into the soup. See, nobody stopped me. I wasn't looking hard enough at the recipe, but yeah, the quinoa, okay? I soaked my quinoa last night and soaked it, rinsed it off this morning. And in fact, I left it during the day today to sprout. Quinoa, lentils, all these things it's even easier to absorb them and absorb their nutrients. First of all, if they've been soaked, and second of all, if they've been even left longer to sprout. So I did that with the quinoa, and that gets thrown into the soup. So I forgot before, but it doesn't matter. It's fine.
What is perfect in the Salad Master cookware, that whatever you put, the thing that even you forget, it's never getting to be cooked over. It's all the time going to be cooked, especially right. It's not.
Okay. Okay, we're pureeing up the beets. One more second. As I said, generally I would have left them steam a little longer, and then they would puree very, very soft. This puree is going to be a little bumpy because they're not quite steamed enough, but I really wanted you to see what the whole process looks like. So I added a little water to make the beet puree smoother. Okay, so right we have, oh, I'll let this make its noise. Okay, we have the beet puree. You want to show, okay, pureed in the food processor. And this now, just as I did the other, second, make a little, clean up a little bit. Okay, just wiping. And now we have the beet. Okay, you're getting the idea. We have now the beet puree, the sweet potato puree, and hopefully in a few minutes we'll have the peas as well. But okay. And now in the meantime, our lentils, as I said, I sauteed the vegetables. Can you see them, or is there too much steam? And threw in the lentils, covered it, and as you saw, in not too many minutes, the lentils got cooked. I'm now going to add, what else do we have to add here? Parsley. On the fire. It was on the fire, but I did not cook the lentils first. I put the lentils right into the vegetables. I have here some parsley, which I ground up. And feel free to put in other greens. I actually have some fresh mint here. I think will be very nice that I'll put in to the lentils as well. But here, I'm just going to mix in the chopped parsley. And now, when I said here with the olive oil and the salt, obviously salt and taste and season it to taste. And the idea of adding the olive oil, which is an oil that we really should not heat. Olive oil doesn't really heat very well. So we cook first the vegetables, the lentils and everything. And then we can add a little olive oil at the end just for the flavor. And without actually having to cook the olive oil, since we have the Salad Master pots that enable us to saute without oil. So as I said, the oil's not a necessity, but adds a little bit of flavor and fun. But we need now the third puree, the pea puree, in order to complete our trio of purees. So just a minute, Dan, talk about something while I wash our food processor.
Okay, great, Rafa. I just have to say that you're very creative, and this dish that you make with the three types of purees, it's really a trio, and I recommend it very much. Now, usually our crowd know that we don't like to peel the vegetable because in the peel is the most nutrition. But what we are doing here is about to receive the cream puree. I will speak a moment in Hebrew. יש מישהו מהחברים פה שבישל איתנו? כי תדליקו מצלמות, נראה, נקפוץ אליכם הביתה. אני יודע אני יודע.
לא, אני שואל אותך. כי יש המון רעשי רקע פה. אני שומע את עצמי פעמיים.
Is he doing that? No, I'm doing it. No. Wait, I want the screen back. I wasn't able to say it. That's okay. Okay, our green peas are not quite ready. We'll give them another minute so that we can have the total trio presentation. On the other hand, our chips, right, which we made. Dan, do you want to show what they look like? Here we go. The chips gotten a little bit crispy and crusty. And as I said, if you have anybody standing in the kitchen, they'll probably just eat them right out of the pan and they'll be gone. But they also work great putting them in the soup for a much healthier soup nut than what we're used to in Shkidei Marak. So I highly recommend always take your peels and make the most out of them. So we see they were in the oven about 20, 25 minutes, but depends how, my oven wasn't hot when I put them in. Okay, just to tell you, the soup is still cooking. Obviously, the soup won't be ready when we finish this evening. But if you started it when we started this evening, you'll be able to eat it in a little while. And the last part of it, which I'll just get ready and show you what we'll do, is both the seasoning and to put in the curry powder. If you like curry, if you don't, you can not put in the curry powder. But we'll take the Swiss chard that we have, right? We wash the Swiss chard in advance. Here we have the Swiss chard. Basically any spinach, kale, any hearty green will do fine. And we'll take these and just thinly slice them. And the important thing to do is put these in at the very end, right before, minutes before you're ready to turn off your soup, so that they still stay whole and you can see them and enjoy the flavor that they impart, okay? So I've chopped up my Swiss chard, and I'm gonna leave it here for when the soup is ready. And the soup, by the way, as soon as your vegetables are cooked, as soon as your zucchini and the quinoa, or if you use buckwheat, if whatever you used are ready, then the soup is done. Okay, I have to say our green pea is not quite ready. So you can see it in the pot. You can see that if I just leave it on the fire a little bit longer, it will be both cooked down enough and will be completely smooth. So I said, if you have a problem that there's still pieces of the peas, put another titch of baking soda in, and as it cooks down, it will also become completely smooth. So for our presentation tonight, I'm not going to have it smear all over the plate since it really needs a few more minutes of cooking. But you'll get the idea if there was a trio, and I will show how we take then the lentils, right, that we've cooked. And as I said, if you want to add the olive oil, is fine. And then the lentils will be.
Can you change the plate before the 10 quarts?
Yes. Sorry. Now I see that you can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so you'll have to imagine the green part. Wait a minute. Here. You'll imagine the green part, but the lentils will be piled in the middle of the three colors. So you can see, makes a lovely presentation.
Beautiful.
And it's always nice if we have some whole leaves. Like I said, tonight I happen to have here some mint.
Bracha, I will ask you for tomorrow if you can send us tonight the pictures, and tomorrow when I will send the email, then
yes,
they will receive all the picture complete.
Okay, and so here you can take your mint leaves. If you want to cut some up and actually put them into the lentils, would be delicious, and a few for decoration. And we have our lovely trio of purees. And as I said, this was just three colors that I had: orange, red, and green. You can think about doing a kohlrabi puree, a squash puree, just about anything will work. If you want to create other colors or even more variety. So we'll have our lovely trio of puree. We'll have our curried soup that's on the stove, and we'll have our little bite of sweets of date nut balls. Thank you, everybody. Any questions?
Yes, I just want to add that if somebody wants to contact, even from abroad, to Bracha directly, so it's more than welcome. I write here our email, and we will send them all the requests. Also, I would like if Tzvi can come to the main הבמה המרכזית, and just to tell about Tzvi that was translating our evening to Hebrew, that is, Bracha, you don't know Tzvi, but all your friends you know abroad, it's more than welcome to, is the best guide ever I met. I have to tell you that. Tzvi, you can speak a little bit in English, present yourself, please. Just a moment, you need to pass, just a moment. I know, try now.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
אוקיי, דוברי העברית, תודה לכם. אני עכשיו עובר לאנגלית. אתם מוזמנים להישאר כמובן. Hi, good evening, everybody. I was behind the scenes right now translating to Hebrew. My name is Tzvi Harpaz. I am a tour guide in Israel, have been a tour guide for the past 32 years. And although I love my job, my problem is that tourism is very volatile. And anything that happens in the world, the first industry to go to its knees is tourism. And now more so with COVID-19 throughout the world. And it made us realize that basically we need to supply an alternative for people to come to this land. And so And so we started working on the idea. We've actually been working before COVID set on us. We've been saving some money in order to develop an app for virtual tourism, realizing that we're going to have to bring Israel to you if you can't come here. And then came COVID, coronavirus, and set in. And for the past 11 and a half months, I've been unemployed. So all the funds that we have saved and put aside for the development of this app went into keeping us afloat. And therefore, we now started a pre-sale or sort of like a crowdfunding in order to be able to finance this application that we're launching in November of 2021. 10 months from now, we will have this app in the air. And Dan, if you could let me share my screen, it would be terrific because I'd like to show you what it is that I have here. Can you let me share my screen, Dan?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. Right, so basically this is the app. It is called TourMe app. And the address of it, you can see up at the very top, tourmeapp.net. And basically, we are going to bring you this land via technology in a way that you have not seen before. Extremely high quality video and audio. We're talking 4K to 8K on the video. The camera is going to be what we call eye level. So the camera is going to serve as the eyes of the tourist that is going to be seeing this. You're going to have geolocalization powered by Google Maps. And you could actually, if you could imagine sort of like a Netflix of tours that you could subscribe to. It's going to be multilingual in English, Spanish, and Portuguese video with subtitles in about 10 or 11 other languages. So basically, it's going to allow you to almost feel like you're here with us. In addition, we're going to enhance it with augmented reality. There's going to be some animation. You will have the opportunity to choose either a specific tour or you could follow a preset itinerary and almost feel as if you're here. I know that in some of the filming that we did, there's a scene of me picking up a flower of the jasmine and smelling it. And I don't want to boast or anything, but I can tell you that it almost seems like you could smell it through the video. That's how sharp and amazing everything is going to be. And we're starting, like I said, a pre-sale, a crowdfunding campaign, and there are some benefits. And you have 5 different options of subscriptions. One of them is the $10 one, $9.99, which is a trial 30-day subscription. And it includes 2 instead of 1 of our interactive tours. Another type of subscription is the $20 one, which is a full 30-day subscription, which allows you up to 4 different tours. Plus, the added bonus that you're getting is the personalized note in the Western Wall that we tuck for you and send you later on proof that it was done directly to your email. The recommended option that we have is the $35 option. It allows you full 1-year subscription and full access to all our library. By the time that this will be launched, we're gonna have 40 to 50 different tours that you could have full access to, and it's constantly updated. So it's well worth staying for another year or another trial period.
Again, you also get the 35. It's for every month or 1 year?
No. This is 1 year, $35. That comes out to less than 10 cents a day. Now I can tell you, people are asking me, "Are you crazy? How are you going to offer all that you're offering at that price?" And my answer is, friends, first of all, it's a burning passion of mine to make sure that people that want to come here have an opportunity to see it, now more so than ever. And I want as many people to be able to have access to this and not to have people say because of price that they cannot afford it. I don't want that to happen. I would rather earn, you know, globally 10 cents per person, but have, you know, 1 million than rather than have, you know, $1 and have 100,000 clients. So seriously, this is the money. I mean, I'm not doing it for anybody's, you know, nice, beautiful eyes, but it's not philanthropy. But I do really want people to have an opportunity to experience this land. And that's why the price is low. And there's the bonus again of the personalized note in the Western Wall. And these are the 3 options that we have normally. For the crowdfunding campaign, for the pre-sale campaign, we added 2 more options. One is a $75 option, which in addition to getting the personalized note and full 1-year access, you also get an original olive branch from the Garden of Gethsemane in Jerusalem. And that is sent to you, to your home. And last, we have $199, $200 subscription, which gives you everything that you got before, plus a gift box, including the olive branch and olive wood Christmas ornaments from Bethlehem, plus a private 1-hour tour with myself or with my partner Boaz for, you know, either through Zoom or through the application that when it comes out. And I can tell you, I thought, you know, I added this option thinking it's not gonna take. And I'm glad to say that I was wrong. And about 25% of our subscriptions so far actually chose this option, which surprised me a lot. But nevertheless, the economic version is, of course, the $35 one, and you're getting the note in the wall as a bonus. You can see on the screen right now the different screens of mobile device or a tablet or a laptop or a smart TV or a home computer. All these are the apparatuses that you could see everything on. And I want to tell you that this is a project that started out, the vision is Meirav Eyal, who's my wife. She's the visionary behind this. We have myself and Boaz, both of us tour guides with many years of experience. You could go into our website, read the story behind this because it's an amazing story. And I would like for you all to go to all of the social media that we have. We have Facebook and Instagram and a YouTube channel, and we promise a lot of good, juicy, valuable content that you'll be enjoying almost on a daily basis until our app comes out. And I would love for you to sign up to our newsletter. I would like to stay in touch with you. If you want to join in on this project and support it, you're of course more than welcome. And I want to thank you for your time and hope that your cooking was wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your translation and for your opportunity to bring Israel to all over the world much easier to people. And this is the gift of the COVID-19, because otherwise I don't think that this was the direction.
Yeah, just 1 second. I want to put on this slide for you, and for some reason it's inverted in Zoom.
Okay.
So just let me.
I put the link in the chat also.
Excellent. We got awesome videos coming out. So sign up to our YouTube channel. Look us up at Tourme App, TOURMEAPP. And I'm just trying to, I don't know why it is like that. I don't know why it ends up.
If you can send me the link, I will put it for tomorrow when I get out the newsletter. Okay.
Excellent. I'll send it to you as we are done.
Okay, so let's do the submit, and I will open the mics for everybody. You can unmute yourself and say thank you for Bracha.
If anybody has any questions to me as well, feel free.
Okay. Bracha, toda rabba. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And our pea puree is ready.
So you can show us.
Right. So you can see the pea puree. As I said, a few more minutes of cooking. Thank you, Tzvi, for talking. And it's nice and great texture.
הפירה של האחרונה מוכן עכשיו גם כן.
כן.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. תודה רבה לכולם, נתראה יום רביעי.
לילה טוב. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Go out.
Maybe he has the participants on the chat. There were chat.
There were.
זהו. ביי, להתראות. ערב טוב, ביי ביי.